Joining me right now on the KDON Live line is Kevin Richards. And Kevin, of course, president of Ventura Web Design, who developed AlanStock.com for me and made it so great. I appreciate that very much. Kevin, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Alan. How are you today?
I am doing absolutely great. Thanks so much for being with me this morning. Let me get into a couple of things that I know are happening right now. First of all, I know that the stock for Twitter is rising, but when they're blocking something, what's going on with this, with Twitter blocking?
That's a pretty popular topic right now, actually. What's happening there is Twitter is designed to really be a very public forum for you to live your life very publicly. And oftentimes that can have consequences, and people can follow you on Twitter that perhaps you don't want to be following you. So in the past, they had a feature that was called basically block that user. And the problem with that, unlike Facebook, where if you block somebody on Facebook, they really don't know it, on Twitter, it's pretty obvious to them that you've blocked them. So they took that feature away because they didn't want people to, be upset and retaliate, basically. So, but the Twitter base got very upset with that. So then Twitter reversed itself pretty quickly and brought that feature back. So this is the first example of when Twitter is now a public company, and they have basically reversed themselves based on a public outcry, similar to the way that Facebook has numerous times when Facebook has changed their policies.
I haven't seen this. What does it say on there when you get blocked on Twitter?
Well, it doesn't say any. It doesn't proactively let the person know, but the person can kind of figure it out pretty easily. So that was really the issue.
Oh.
It's not. It doesn't send them a message to say, "Hey, you've been blocked." Really, it just really gives them. It's pretty easy to figure out. Is the point.
All right. Now I haven't seen this myself, but I've heard some people talking about a Facebook sympathize button. What the heck is that?
That's also some news today, and one of the big complaints for the longest time from Facebook users has been that the only way that they can really interact with a post is either to comment on it, share it, or like it. And oftentimes people won't necessarily post something that's completely happy on Facebook, but it's still relative to their life, so they want to share it with their friends and family. And the only thing you can do to kind of acknowledge that you saw it and that you sympathize with them is to click like. But the problem with that is if somebody's saying, my friend just died or something, you don't want to click like to that. You don't have any way to express your sympathy. So Facebook has announced that they're working on creating a sympathize button that would solve that problem.
So they haven't done that yet, but that's coming aboard pretty soon.
It is in the works. It's on the roadmap over at Facebook. So they're developing it and finding a way to include it. And I'm certain that they're also looking for a way to monetize it. When somebody clicks sympathize, obviously it's going to trigger something that maybe allows you to send flowers or some type of gift. Oh,
wow. That's clever. That's clever. I mean, very entrepreneurial of them. Let's talk briefly about the Amazon. I got so much to talk about, so I'm running through this. I've got a million things in my mind here. The Amazon local businesses and the whole collecting sales tax issue. It's going to be implemented here for Amazon starting the 1st of January in Nevada. I'm talking about. Is it fair to local businesses that Amazon hasn't been charging tax, even though obviously they have a location in Nevada? But also the question that comes to my mind, the reverse: is it fair to brick and mortar businesses when internet businesses haven't had to charge taxes?
Well, exactly. The way the law works, and of course I'm not an attorney, I'm just a retailer and e-commerce guy, so I'm pretty good at answering this question. If you have a business location in Nevada and you're shipping a product to someone who lives in Nevada, you have what's called a nexus. Yeah. Therefore, you are required as a retailer to collect sales tax on that purchase. However, if you are a retailer in Nevada and you are shipping a product to California or some other state, you do not have a nexus with that state. Therefore, you do not have a requirement to collect sales tax on that purchase. The requirement, the obligation is actually on the purchaser to proactively report to their state franchise or tax board that they have made that purchase, which of course that never happens. And so that's why the cities and the states are trying to find a way to make sure that they're getting their sales tax dollars.
Well, that's going to happen the 1st of January regardless. But it's been the case that if you are an internet business here, you didn't necessarily have to tax.
Well, yeah, and what was happening with Amazon is it's very interesting. They do have entities here in Nevada, and yet when they were shipping to Nevada, they still weren't charging sales tax. So it seems, to me that the reason that they agreed so quickly to Nevada's demands is because they pretty much knew they were going to lose. They had recently lost some cases in New York where it was basically the same issue, internet purchases and failure to collect sales tax on it. It's kind of interesting that Amazon is big enough that they feel that they can make these decisions to not comply like small retailers. So it's definitely, a fairness issue, not only for just the local brick and mortar retailers, but also the other online retailers to be competing with Amazon in that way.
Wow. Kevin Richards joining me. He, of course, the president of Ventura Web Design, who developed the AlanStock.com site. And we're going to come on back and continue our discussion with Kevin in just a moment. Great to have you with us. And Kevin Richards is joining us right now from Ventura Web Design, the developer of AlanStock.com. And I appreciate you being here, Kevin.
Hey, absolutely. I'm looking at that picture of you on KDON's Facebook page. You look great.
I'm telling you, see, lost a little weight. Got to keep that going. Trying to compete, I guess, with Kathy there, but I won't be able to. She looks great. All right, I want to get into this real quickly. A new tool I know is out from Google to replace Microsoft Excel, and I'm not sure what it's called, but I know it's out there, and you don't have to be on Wi-Fi to use it. Please tell me about it.
So Google is really competing with Microsoft, obviously, and Google's business model is they want to be a part of all of your data, and then once they aggregate your data, they have a pretty good idea of who you are, and from that, they can then target ads to you. So one of the tools they've created is called Microsoft Sheets, and basically that's their answer to Microsoft Excel. And up until now, one of the biggest complaints was that you had to be internet connected. So you couldn't use your Google Sheets when you were flying in the air or when your internet connection went down, or basically when you were out on the beach in somewhere that didn't have Wi-Fi access, you couldn't be working out there. So now Google has solved that problem, and it's a pretty big improvement. It's a movement in the right direction because you want Google to be competing with Microsoft, because when those two compete, you end up with a much better product for consumers. So
it's really this is a step forward for consumers at this point.
It is, absolutely, and if you've ever heard of Google Chrome, that's their web browser, and it's really quite powerful. It's almost designed to be an operating system in and of itself, and that's kind of what this new direction with Sheets is proving, is that Chrome can actually do everything that you really need, and that's kind of been Google's position for the longest time, that as consumers, really all you need from a machine is connectivity to the internet and some basic controls. And it's basically their contention is that you need to live within the cloud, and this step makes it a lot easier for you to do so.
And you're right, the cloud. See, I've learned all about the cloud, and I love it. I mean, boy, to be able to transfer stuff over and to use, I've learned a lot about that, and it's been very, very cool. Transferring all my stuff, my music that I put, my CDs on my computer, and then putting it on over to my iPad. It's been fabulous. We haven't got a lot of time. Real quickly, I've got to ask you this. I saw that California authorities have arrested this creep who ran a website that actually posted naked pictures of women. That ex-boyfriends would, post the photos, and then women wanted the photos taken down. They have to pay for it and all that. Just on that, because I know you're staying on top of all these stories.
Oh yeah, anything internet related, I'm paying attention to it. So this is a big one, and the guy was running a website, and he thought he was pretty clever, and the California authorities were a little bit more clever than he was, and what they did is they actually used an identity theft law. And what that law prohibits is using identifying information of a person without their permission. And then, of course, he was also extorting them by asking them to pay to have their images removed. So the authorities, it was the California State Attorney General's office, as well as the guys in San Diego. They did a great job taking down a disgusting website. There's a lot more of them out there, but you got to give applause when it's due.
Good. I've got about 45 seconds, and that's it. But I've got to ask. I keep getting invitations for LinkedIn all over the place, and I know they've lowered their age limit for use to 14. Should parents be concerned about this kind of privacy?
LinkedIn is a good tool if you're looking to do a very specific career path, or maybe go to a specific college. If you get on there, and your LinkedIn is really designed to be an online version of your resume, and we're always worried that college recruiters or that our future employers are going to look us up online. So it's really important to protect your online reputation management. LinkedIn is a great way to do that. 14-year-olds should start by putting up their, community service and the things that they're doing to be be well-rounded, and I don't think it's a privacy issue at all.
All right. Kevin Richards, the president of Ventura Web Design. To find out more about Ventura Web Design or to contact Kevin, go to allenstock.com. On the right-hand side of the page, you'll see the Ventura Web Design icon. Click onto that, and you will be able to contact Kevin Richards. Kevin, have a great weekend. We'll do it again next week. Thank you for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alan.
All right. Kevin Richards, president of Ventura Web Design.